Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Failing My Way in Public to Success, the Mark Sclaire podcast. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So let's get started. So it's been 2 weeks, since my last show. In that time, there's been quite a bit that's gone on, but it's kind of just gone by so quickly that I thought, maybe I'll leave it till a couple of significant things have happened as well. So on a negative side, I guess everything's a lesson, but after the rain, which everyone has been, still talking about and going crazy about, and it's now affecting us. The moment there's a sign of rain, people they work from home and schools are closed. Hopefully things calm back down again, but there was a couple of gigs that were cancelled. So just when you think everything's kind of building and the momentum's building, all of a sudden the rug gets pulled from under your feet. And because I wasn't available on the dates for it to be rescheduled, I've missed out on those. So it's just all part of it, unfortunately. So that was 4 days worth of training. And then also there was a 3-day gig that was postponed, but who knows when that will pick back up again. So ups and downs, I guess that's what it's all about, this entrepreneurial career which I'm trying to build, but it's all part of it. So yeah, got to take the rough with the smooth, I guess, because there's a lot of good stuff that goes on. There's a lot of gratitude which I have for everything that happens to me on a daily basis, because I know that I'm in a position of growth, position to succeed, position to have success. And unfortunately, when you want to get there, there's things that are going to happen along the way, but it's how you respond in those moments. And I'd like to think I've responded in the right sort of way. And because of that, there's good opportunities now for May, for June, and even some opportunities being booked up for July as well. So happy with how things are going. Can always be a bit happier, but I think that's the world we live in, isn't it? We never really are content. But also as well, it's wrong to be content, because you should always be growing as well. And I need to be challenging myself. I need to be putting myself in a position where I get uncomfortable, and that's where growth happens, really. So it's been a bit of a weird few weeks with the rain, as I just said, and everything. So few days ago, got back from Saudi, flew out there because I was a moderator for an event, and I love this, absolutely love it, because there's one thing which is being a public speaker or being on stage and doing a presentation, but when you've got to moderate the whole event, so from the very beginning that it starts to the very end, you are the person that is ensuring really that things run smoothly. Things have got to run on your time, because there's a schedule and people need to follow that. And if there's one thing, when you've got a keynote speaker, if they can use up as much time as possible, they would do it. So you have to be telling them. So that's a big challenge, but something which I feel I rose to the occasion for, and something I'm very proud of, especially being in Saudi Arabia, which is different cultures, different people. Even with me living in Dubai for 16 years, there's definitely still differences there. But what I've done is, very soon, I'm actually putting together a video, and I'm not sure how many principles there's going to be yet. It could be 5, it could be 7, but those principles to delivering as a moderator, what it takes to be a successful moderator. And I've done quite a few of them now, and I've definitely learnt what to do and what not to do, which is even more important really, what not to do. But if you were listening to my podcast in the past, you know that I love to case the joints. So I want to go down there before the show even happens. I want to visualize it. I want to see the setup. I want to make sure that I'm speaking with the sound people, with the visual people. I want to make sure that we are a team together. And I want them to know that they are extremely important in this whole process. Because first of all, I want good video footage, okay? And second of all, one part to this is that you've got to capture the day. Because people want photos, and it's the way to kind of get it out there, because there was 200 people in the room, okay? If there was no photos, no videos, only 200 people would ever know about it. 200 people isn't enough. We want hundreds of thousands and millions of people knowing about this event that we delivered. And It's important that the right video footage is done, the right pictures are done, but then you don't want it to disturb the day as well. So one thing I will say is sometimes the camera people were standing in the way of the delegates sat at the tables. Now, on one hand, it's great because you're getting good content, but on the other hand, the experience that the person in the actual room is having is negative. They're not that happy because things are being blocked from them actually being able to see things. So the event as a whole, again, there's some sort of contradiction as well because, and it's very impressive what the event people actually did with this, because you've got two goals here. You need to make sure that the vendors are happy, and you've also got to make sure the delegates are happy. Now the delegates are there because they want to actually learn from the keynotes and the panel people which are discussing insights and topics. And that's great. But then you've got the vendors who want to be speaking with the delegates. So can you see how there's different objectives there? The delegates are there to learn and the vendors are there to sell. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, what I mean is the event people, they got a really good balance with it because there was a lot of education, a lot of learning, but then as well there was those times where the salespeople were then able to go and speak with the delegates. And what the event people did really well with as well, someone's banging up there. What the event people did really well is that just because the delegate is there doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go and speak to the vendors. So they would approach the delegates in a certain way where they feel comfortable enough to go up and sit with the vendors. And then once that starts going, once that starts building, then all of a sudden like everyone's going up there because they don't actually want to miss out. So I'm putting a video together about really good techniques and styles and things that you should be doing and not doing as a moderator, which is really going to help ensure that if the opportunity does come up, you know what you're doing. Now, one thing I will say is anyone can give you advice. Anyone can say this is what you should do, this is what not you should do. But one thing I will say is be authentic to who you are. Don't do what someone else is doing just because they've been successful with it. If it's true to you and it's in line with who you are, then that will stand out more or connect better with the audience than you trying to copy what Steve Jobs does or copy what Russell Brunson does or copy what Gary Vaynerchuk does. You can model what they do, but it has to be true to who you are. And that's some of the best advice that I give. Now, next week, I'm going to be delivering the first 4 days of a public speaking and presentation skills course. And I'm building out the content at the moment. And I love doing this because it keeps me refreshed as well. Because I need to go on a journey of, it's one thing to say, hey, this is what you should do, but you've got to build the course in a way where there's a flow to it. And I don't want to reveal too much, like too early, of what to do. I want those people to learn as they're doing the role plays and the activities. And definitely with this public speaking course, there's going to be so much uncomfortability. But one thing is, and this is so true, fear and excitement. What is fear and excitement? Is it different? Are they different things? What do you think? I'll tell you now, they're the same. Your body sees it as the same. If you're excited, what happens? Your pulse starts racing, you get sweaty hands, you get nervous, you probably need to go to the toilet quite a bit as well, okay? So that's excitement. Now there's fear. Now fear, what's the same thing? Your heart is racing, your hands are sweaty, you probably need to go to the toilet. They're the same, exactly the same. The difference is what you're telling yourself, what you are telling yourself. So people ask, like, how are you able to get on stage? I feel I've got a purpose as well. That's really important. I feel that what I'm doing right now in my journey matches with the purpose and where I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to be doing. So I asked myself that question, is this going to benefit the progress that I'm on at the moment? Yes, it is, okay? And then the other one is, you have to switch your mind And you have to get your mind to believe that actually this is something exciting to do. I'm going to get on stage in front of 200 HR people, and not only am I going to get on stage and speak to them, but I'm also going to be on stage with people that I can learn from and really get insights into what HR are doing on a daily basis. So there's a big thing about digital transformation at the moment. There's a huge thing about AI. And I'm watching somebody give a presentation on AI, and there was huge pushback from the people in Saudi. So have I learned from that? Yes. It's a very soft approach when you're coming out, although it's 100% coming, okay? There's no doubt about it. AI is there and it's here to stay. But there's a way to speak about it and there's a way to do it. So because I was there at the event, because I was involved, I'm learning all of this. I'm learning from that person on the stage a different approach that I should be doing, because it didn't connect well with the audience. Now, there should be some disruption and there should be some argument and debate going on between people. And again, this is where there's a bit of conflict between what the event people are trying to achieve, which is a smooth, timed event, and actually what the audience want, which is debate. They want their voice to be heard. And somebody gives a 30-minute keynote and they're structured from 9:30 till 10, and then all of a sudden there's 10, 15 minutes of questions going on. That's a big problem. When you build that up and there's 10, 15 minutes on each presentation, that could overrun the event by 2.5 hours. That's not good. But you want people asking questions. So where's that line draw, really? But I would say that we got the balance just right, and we were able to, during the breaks, people were able to speak with the people that are on stage. So it was all good. At times and again, that was my job. I had to make those people aware. We've got 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes left on stage, announce the people onto stage, and then, no, I'll save that. I'll save that for the video I'm going to do. But it's important to have a bit of personality when you're doing this moderation, because you've got to connect with the people, okay? And unfortunately, humour doesn't translate into all nationalities and cultures, but there's a base to work from with that. So that was me arriving or going to Saudi for 2 days into Riyadh, get in, get out. And the reason why I was getting out, first of all, there was a storm coming, supposedly. Some flights were cancelled yesterday. But also, Tony Robbins was live in Dubai. And the event was on the 30th, and Tony Robbins was on the 1st. So the event finished around 5:30, flight was at 10. For once, the flight wasn't delayed, we took off on time, and arrived back in Dubai about 12:30, 1:45. Was back in my apartment and in bed by about 2, and I was up to go and see Tony at around about, I had a little lay-in yesterday. I got up around about 7:30. Yeah, so did that, got ready, still did a bit of my routine, which was a bit of exercise, morning prayers, a bit of meditation, reading a book, which I'm reading at the moment, which is Catch Me If You Can, and I'll speak about this once I finish it. Very different to the movie, really eye-opening actually in that regard. But get down to the event, and I've learnt from last time actually that I didn't quite have to get there, because I went to the Ed Milet and Jay Shetty one, and I was there from like 8:30 and I'm waiting outside, and didn't quite have to do that this time. I got there a little bit later, and then we got into the room and Aldar do their thing. And big shout out to Aldar actually, who are the developers in Abu Dhabi. And they've taken this initiative, which is so important. I respect it so much. They've created this thing called Aldar Experts. And it's a platform, it's an environment where agents can learn within a community, but also from industry experts, but also other people that have been successful in their own different fields, where they can give some insights. So we had, Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listings, Tracy Tudor. You've had the Altman brothers, Robin Sharma, Lewis Howes, Stephen Bartlett. I've been very, very fortunate to attend these things. But like I'll talk, what are you learning and then what are you applying? What are you learning and then what are you applying? So you can watch all these videos, listen to this podcast, do all these things, but if you're not going to action what we're actually talking about or what those people are talking about, then how do you know if it's going to work? How do you know if it's going to work for you? So I arrived there, and I was very, very fortunate. Not fortunate. No, I mean, I'm not fortunate. I've put myself in a position to have these opportunities. Okay, right. Got to tell myself that, okay? Stay humble, but also realise that, you're doing a good job. So I am aligned with a training company in Dubai, or Abu Dhabi as well, UAE, which is part of the company that put on this event. So I reached out to the person who organised it, and I said, hey, any chance I can get on the table with you guys? Where's their table? At the front. At the front. So get there, do the welcoming at the front there at the stage. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely amazing. Like, as close as I am now to you, if you're watching this video, and the camera is as close as that as what I was to Tony Robbins, which, I could smell his aftershave. So, yeah. Let me get back my trail of thought here. So we had a big announcement of all the different projects. That's what Aldo are there to get you for as well. They want to announce some new projects, what's happening, some amazing projects in London actually, and it was quite nostalgic, because where their new project is actually literally round the corner from one of my most proudest moments in life, which was working where I was in Westminster with an old company called Galliard Homes, and I just reminisce about getting the train into London, coming out of Westminster Station, Big Ben and Parliament right in front of me. Not every day, but on a cold, clear, blue sky morning, walking past Parliament, and then walking around the back there, going past the Home Office, and then going into the office, which was a grade 2 or grade 1 listed building. An original 1920s build, and they completely gutted the whole inside and built these beautiful apartments. But I loved going into work every single day, working with a sales director who taught me so much, Kate, big shout out, Ben, who's one of my best friends from school, Camilla, Clemency, David, Koski. Yeah, so just good people which to be around, and I love those moments. So when they were running the videos of Westminster, and yeah, it was just amazing to see, and it's good to look back a little bit, but it's important to look forward as well. So I was enjoying those moments, and then we broke for lunch, and when we came back, Tony was about to come out. Now, is Tony in line with Tony? Me and Tony, me and Tone Robbins. Cheesy, American, over the top, dramatic, but you've got to get people's energy going. And I just appreciate and respect that so much, because the moment he came out and he's done, and he got this thing with his hands it's ridiculous. I don't know, he claps really, really weird. It's like this. It's weird, yeah? It's funny. And he comes out on stage, and he's 64 years old. I mean, his energy is still unbelievable. But before that, he had 3 dancers which were on stage, getting people motivated, getting people up. Not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to enjoy it. But I'd say 75% of the people were at least going to give it a go. That was the vibe I got anyway. There was about 5,000 people in total at the event. So he comes out on stage, and he starts saying to people, this isn't about giving you positive attitude, because that's not true. It's actually the states you are in when you're trying to do something. And that's what he was trying to do, a mind shift. And he gave some really good actions and activities, and it isn't any different to what he's spoken about before, but I always say, you could hear, I've heard things from 5 years ago and took no notice of it. And I hear it today, and it connects with me so well. And then there's things that 5 years ago I would say was the absolute truth of the world. And nowadays, I think it's just completely the opposite of what I believe. So no matter how many times you hear it, you can have a different perspective to it. But I love what he does. He tells stories, and he was on stage, and he could have stayed there the whole time, but he didn't. He came down onto the floor with us, and he started walking around. He wasn't just at the front row. I wanted him to stay at the front row because that's where I was. And I'm annoyed that I've got this front row seat, and all of a sudden he's moved behind me. But he was going around to different tables, and he was sharing his energy, and that for me is everything. Everything when it comes to being a presenter. He didn't have to leave there. He could have stayed on stage, but he knew the experience of people wanting to see him, people wanting to feel his energy, people wanting to learn more from him. He got on the floor and he was walking around and sharing his energy with everybody. And that is incredible. But the moment the energy started to drop, he'd get everyone to stand up, do a dance, do a woo like this. And again, cheesy stuff, don't get me wrong. But when you're talking for 4 hours, you need people to be engaged. Those types of things you have to do. So I fully respect it. Is it in line with what I do? No. But are there things that I can take from it and apply? I really do believe so. So very grateful for that day. It's interesting because at the last events, like Ed Milet, I got to meet him, Stephen Bartlett got to meet him, Lewis Howes got to meet him, and I was hoping that I was going to meet Tony Robbins. Now, the guys were coming around with the passes, and they never even looked at me. And I knew 2 of them as well, and they never even looked at me. And halfway through the event, I went up to the person. I said, "Look, is there any chance I'll be able to meet with Tony?" "Yes, don't worry, I'll be able to get you a pass." Half an hour later, nothing. Hour later, nothing. Gets to the end of the show, I go up to him. "Oh, Mark, I completely forgot. Sorry, give me 10 minutes and I'll get you it." Nothing. So the problem is, when I saw him give a pass to somebody, not give it to me, that was about an hour into the show. And it was about 3.5 hours. Now, for about a minute, I was like, oh my God, my experience is going to be so bad. I don't get to meet Tony Robbins. But then my mind had to shift a little bit because I had to think, no, I'm here, front row, actually listening to one of the greatest speakers ever, and I'm live here right now. Why am I going to let something like a photo afterwards actually ruin what this moment is? And I was able to bring myself back to be present with what was going on. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that because, again, there's awareness. Oh, I should be grateful for being here. But there's the management of it. And I was able to manage my emotions and actually get back into this and enjoy and listen to what he was saying. So I'm so proud of myself for that. And it's these little things that make a difference. And I always say, like, with emotional intelligence, there's awareness and then there's management. So as we talk about what happened with the rest of the show, it's quite interesting. There was a huge speaker there as well, a huge celebrity figure who in India literally is like royalty and is a king, and his name's Rohit Sharma. And someone would have paid or given their life to be sat where I was when Rohit Sharma came on. And I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but he had no personality. He was there as a face for the new project which Aldo are launching. And he got interviewed and they just said, "Hey, what is your experience like wanting to live in a development like this?" If he was speaking about his problems as a captain of the Indian cricket team, which is a huge responsibility. I tell you this now, and in India and in Pakistan as well, I believe in the exact order goes cricket, religion, family. Cricket, religion, family. So when you've got something which is the most important part of the country and you're the captain, not just in one part of the team, but 4 parts of the team, the 2020, the one day, the 50 overs and the test cricket as well. That is huge responsibility. So that I respect, and I'd love to speak to him about it. I'd love to learn more about that, but it was literally just talking about, hey, what are your thoughts on the new project that's going on? Oh, how do you see India doing against the West Indies? Don't really care too much, to be fair, to be honest. Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm sat there, not really that interested. Someone else sat there, and it will be the best thing that ever happened to them. And there were so many people that were rushing to the front to get photos, to get videos. Yeah, and it's just people we run into. Some people will give up their life to meet them, and you just go blasé about it. They're just everyday people until I meet somebody. I'm desperate. I've told them a number of times they have to bring Will Smith for the next event. I would love for Will Smith to be there. And he's always in Dubai. And if anyone knows Will and can connect me with him, I'd love to meet him, just to have a moment with him, because I just think it's part of my journey, really, to meet somebody like that, which I respect, appreciate. Respect and appreciate the journey that he has been on. And, you know, I've followed him since I was a kid, really. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then Bad Boys, Independence Day, and him as a person that has gone on a growth journey as well. All of those, you know, there's a great clip, and I'll completely ruin it, but, you know, nobody knows who you are. You don't even know who you are, and you cannot lean on others to understand that. You know, and people will think you're just so crazy that they'll be willing to go on this journey with you. You know, I don't do it justice. Maybe I'll share the video after. It's just absolutely brilliant. Nobody knows who you are. You don't even know who you are. And who I was 5 years ago is very different to who I am now. We all change, yeah? And as I've said a few times, if somebody says to me, Mark, you've changed, I say thank you. Yeah? How's growth meant to happen if you don't change? Yeah? And I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Bartlett and Jimmy Carr. And Stephen Bartlett phrased the question in a certain way, and Jimmy Carr says, no, that's one of my favourite questions. You know, when was the last time you changed your mind? When was the last time you changed your mind about something? Where you were so hell-bent on that is how it is, but actually you've learned and come across a different way, and now you see it differently. Yeah? Bit of a mind blow. When was the last time you changed your mind about something? And were you willing to allow yourself to change your mind? Or were you so stubborn that you just stuck with it and wouldn't give in? And that affected certain things as well. You know, times are changing. Ron Burgundy, hadn't heard that before. So as we draw towards a close with this, if you're watching the video, you'll see that I've got some phones at the front here. Again, I'm trying to keep this authentic to who I am. And it's interesting, these phones aren't even that old really, but they're, you know, between 15 to 12 years old. And they are Blackberries, yeah? And I remember when they came out with the iPhone and they came out with WhatsApp, and I said, I will never ever change from a BlackBerry. I will never ever, like BBM pins, why would I ever change? And then you start using the phone. And it's, well, when you watch the movie of BlackBerry actually, you can hear this now, this clicking, okay? BlackBerry was so certain that they would beat iPhone because they thought that people were addicted to this keyboard because of the clicking. They thought that that was what did it for them. But as you know, that with iPhone, they created the touch screen and it made a clicking noise if it wanted it as well. So you can either change with the times or get left behind. There's a million of examples of that. You know, Blockbuster and Netflix. We could go on for days about different examples of where people didn't change. Like, is it Kodak? Yeah, Kodak. And they forgot who they were or what they were doing. They were not in the digital camera. They were not in the camera roll business. They were in the creating memories business. And the thing is, when you're on that journey, the vehicle changes. So if you're looking to create memories, it went from the camera roll to the digital camera, from the digital camera to the smartphone. You know, whatever it is, you're capturing memories with that camera. It doesn't matter what vehicle it's in, as long as you stay true to what your original objective was, which was to capture those memories. So as I leave you now, a little G-Shock watch as well. God, yeah, anyway. I know that if you're not watching this, you're probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about? But May is going to be a busy month. I've got this 8-day public speaking course, got negotiation skills, got another training course. So yeah, good times are coming. Good times are coming, building on it and putting the energy out there, putting myself out there. And if you are listening to this and you feel that, or you come across anybody who is looking for a keynote or a public speaker or a moderator for an event or needs sales coaching or training, please connect with me. I feel that everything is about relationships and I'd love to speak to you about it. But look, as I draw to a close now, I want to say, I didn't do it at the beginning, did I? Yeah, so sales professionals, that's who the community is, that's who the tribe is. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you. No, actually, sorry, that isn't my sign-off, is it? God, I've got so many sign-offs I forget now. Remember, this... I've got so many sign-offs here, honestly. Yeah, this is your turning point. So connect with me on YouTube, on Instagram at Mark Sclaire Training, on LinkedIn, Mark Sclaire. But let's build some value together, okay? So remember, this is your turning point. Take care, everybody.